Okay, what if I told you there's a secret conspiracy happening inside your phone right now, and that it's being done on purpose? Today, we are launching an investigation into the crime that affects pretty much all of us, the great phone slowdown. You know the feeling, right? You get a new phone, and it is a rocket ship. I mean, apps launch instantly, scrolling feels like silk, it's basically magic. But then, month by month, that magic kind of fades, and you're left holding a laggy, frustratingly slow rock. And here's the thing, you are not going crazy. Your phone is getting slower. But the reason isn't as simple as, oh, it's just getting old. No, the real story is a hidden mystery, a conspiracy unfolding right there in your pocket. So, it's time to play detective. Our investigation starts now. We're on the hunt for the secret culprits that are absolutely killing your phone's speed. And our first suspect? Well, it's the most obvious one. Or is it? Alright, first up, let's look at suspect number 1, the aging battery. Now, this isn't about how long your battery charge lasts. This is about how well it can deliver that power. As a battery gets older, it's kind of like a pipe that's slowly getting clogged up with rust. The power is still in there, but it really struggles to push through that clog. So here's how it all goes down. That internal clog, that resistance, it gets worse and worse. You open up a big, power-hungry app, and it just screams, "Give me power now!" But the clogged up battery just can't keep up. The power level suddenly nosedives, and the phone's brain just panics and hits the emergency shutdown button to protect itself from getting damaged. So, it's an open and shut case, right? The battery did it. But hang on, this is where things get really interesting. What if those random shutdowns weren't the actual crime, but just a clue pointing to a much bigger, much more deliberate plot? And that brings us to the first major twist in our case, a huge scandal that came to be known as Batterygate. This is where we all discovered that the slowdown wasn't just an accident of aging hardware. Nope, it was a secret, deliberate act committed by your phone's own operating system. So it all started when people noticed their phones were just dying out of nowhere, even with like 30% battery left. In response, Apple quietly pushed out an update. Then, a year later, independent researchers proved it. Older iPhones were being slowed down on purpose. The public outcry was massive, and it led to lawsuits and a huge settlement. Now, Apple's official story, they said they were actually trying to help you. They wanted to, and I quote, prolong the life of their devices by stopping those random shutdowns. You know, maybe a noble goal, but because they did it all in secret, millions of people just felt tricked. So, the verdict on our first suspect is complicated. The aging battery creates the problem for sure, but it's the software that delivers the final blow, deliberately slowing down your phone's processor just to keep it stable. But you know what? The battery isn't acting alone. There's another, much sneakier culprit we need to investigate. So let's turn our attention to suspect number 2. And this one is a real shocker. Because the real performance killer might not be your battery or your processor at all. It might be hiding in plain sight, right there in your photo gallery and your apps. I want you to think about this for a second. When your phone gets full, it doesn't just run out of room. The actual structure of your file starts to break down. Instead of being neat and organized, your data gets shattered into thousands of tiny scattered fragments. This is honestly the perfect way to picture it. A new phone is like a clean, perfectly organized library. You want to add a book? Great, just find an empty shelf. But a phone that's nearly full, oh, it is a chaotic mess. To fit a new book in, the librarian has to literally rip out every single page and stuff them into tiny little gaps all over the library. Now just imagine your phone trying to read that book. It has to sprint around, collecting thousands of scattered pages just to open one file. And this isn't just a fun story, it's been proven with actual data. This chart shows just how much longer it takes your phone to read a fragmented file compared to a clean one. And all that extra running around adds up, believe me. It's happening every single second you use your phone. Get this, one study found that just accessing the database for one of your social media apps can be 13% slower just because its data is scattered all over the place. Now, multiply that tiny little delay by the thousands of files your phone accesses every minute. All of a sudden, you're not just looking at a small lag, you're looking at a full-blown performance killer. But, oh, it gets worse. Our two main suspects, the battery and the storage, yeah, they aren't working alone. They have a whole crew of hidden accomplices helping them sabotage your phone's speed. First up in the gang, you've got software bloat. Every new update is like asking your old phone to carry a heavier and heavier backpack. Then, there's heat. When your phone gets too hot, its brain deliberately slows itself down to cool off, just like you would on a long run. And finally, there's RAM pressure. Your phone's RAM is its short-term memory, and too many apps running at once create this constant mental traffic jam. And this is a brilliant illustration of a key difference in how iPhones and Androids handle that mental traffic jam. So iOS is like a really tidy person who cleans up memory the instant it's no longer needed. Android, on the other hand, is, well, it's more like a procrastinator. It lets the mess build up, then runs a big garbage collection to clean everything at once, which can cause those little stutters and pauses you sometimes feel. Okay, we've identified the suspects. We've unmasked their entire crew. The investigation is complete. Now for the most important part. What can you actually do to fight back and solve this crime for yourself? All right, here is your 3-step battle plan. First, you've got to attack that file fragmentation. Aim to keep at least 20 to 30% of your storage free. Think of it as giving your files some room to breathe. Second, fight the battery clog. If your phone is more than 2 years old, a new battery can instantly remove that performance slowdown. And finally, clear that mental traffic jam. Go into your settings and turn off background refresh for apps that don't absolutely need it. So if you really want the biggest bang for your buck, this is where you should focus your energy. Keeping your storage clean and your battery healthy, those are the 2 most powerful things you can possibly do. Managing your apps is that final, crucial piece of the puzzle. So, the case is closed. The slowdown isn't one single culprit, but a whole conspiracy between aging parts and some pretty clever software. But here's the final twist, the final question to leave you with. With AI now starting to manage our phones automatically, are we on the verge of finally creating a phone that never gets old? A phone that stays just as fast on day 1000 as it did on day 1? I guess only time will tell.